welcome back to the channel. Tonight on Beyond the Gates, the tension at Fairmont Crest reaches a breaking point. Anita and Vernon face the crumbling remains of their marriage in power. Vanessa corners Joey with demands he can't escape, and Bill is haunted by a gift that threatens to expose a deadly secret from the past. Meanwhile, Smitty makes a decision that could change his family forever, forcing Tyrell and Samantha to confront the truth about what their father has been hiding. In this episode, love turns into suspicion, loyalty becomes a weapon, and every choice leads closer to betrayal. What happens when everyone in Fairmont Crest realizes the greatest danger isn't outside the gates, but within their own hearts? Anita sat alone by the window of the Dupree mansion, staring out at the garden that had been wrecked by last night's storm. The chill in the air crept through her thin blouse but did little to cool the chaos raging inside her. For years, Anita had lived as a proud woman, controlling everything around her, from her children to her family's reputation. But now everything seemed to be collapsing at once. Vernon no longer listened, Danny had grown distant, Nicole had turned her back, and even Martin no longer trusted her. Among the ruins of her authority and affection, Anita realized she had become a stranger in her own home. She tried to be creative in escaping the chaos, not through love, but through strategy. She revived a charity project, but behind the facade was an attempt to wash her name clean and regain control of the Dupree fortune. Yet deep down, she asked herself, if everyone turns away, can a woman once worshipped truly rise again through deception? Meanwhile, Vernon, the man who had once been Anita's steady anchor, stood at a crossroads between loyalty and exhaustion. He was too familiar with life in her shadow, enduring her coldness while pretending to be strong. But today, that endurance was breaking. He had learned of a suspicious financial transaction tied to the family's foundation, one that bore Anita's signature. In that moment, he didn't know whether to trust his wife or his instincts screaming that she had betrayed him. The pain of doubt twisted into a dark creativity. He would pretend to cooperate to expose the truth. Yet beneath that plan lingered a darker thought: if Anita truly was behind it all, could he destroy her? Or would his own loyalty become his undoing? Elsewhere, Vanessa, usually composed and polished, was unraveling from within. She had gone to Joey, the man who once promised her honesty. But lately, everything about him felt off: his excuses, his disappearances, his silence. Vanessa could sense a secret between them, maybe even a betrayal. She demanded clarity, but inside, she feared the answer. Was Joey cheating on her, or was he simply protecting himself? In a world built on lies, love was just another negotiation, and Vanessa began to suspect that what she was fighting to protect no longer existed. She had forgiven once, but forgiveness had hollowed her. Now, when she demanded a new promise, what she truly wanted wasn't reassurance, it was control. She wanted to know whether Joey's love could survive the storm she was about to unleash, or if he would crumble like every other man who had stood before her. At the same time, Bill received an unexpected gift: a letter and a ring sent by someone he never expected to hear from again, Doug. The name itself hit him like a ghost from the past, for Doug had died in a car crash that Bill never dared to face. The letter was handwritten, its words trembling on faded paper, referencing a debt unpaid and a secret long buried. Bill's hands shook as he held the ring, a symbol of friendship, or of guilt he had spent years suppressing. He began to suspect that Doug's death hadn't been an accident at all, and that someone close to him might have been involved. The guilt twisted into obsession. Was this gift a warning or a punishment? Bill didn't know, but he knew his life would never again be safe. While the others spiraled in deceit, Smitty faced a crossroads of his own. He gathered Tyrell and Samantha to tell them about the future of their family, a decision that would leave everyone stunned. He had lost too much already: trust, dignity, and part of himself when Martin became entangled in legal turmoil. Now, he wanted to take the children and leave Fairmont Crest for good. But Tyrell resisted, accusing his father of cowardice, while Samantha withdrew into silence, her eyes full of tears. Smitty felt judged by the very people he was trying to protect. He couldn't admit it, but he knew that if they stayed, the entire family would be swallowed by the Dupree curse. Yet the haunting question remained: could he leave without destroying what little love they still had? Or would walking away be the final act that shattered them forever? Back at the mansion, Anita remained unaware that her husband was setting a trap. Vernon had created a fake investment proposal to test her loyalty, and in her eagerness to prove control, she signed it. That single signature sealed her fate. For Vernon, it was confirmation but not triumph. Instead, he felt only emptiness. Betraying the woman he had built an empire with didn't feel like victory, it felt like the end of his soul. Still, he believed this was the only way to save himself from the web of corruption Anita had spun. But who was the real traitor, the one who signed her family's downfall, or the one who designed the test to expose her? Meanwhile, Vanessa and Joey continued their slow collapse. Joey tried to prove his devotion, but the fractures in Vanessa's heart ran too deep. She began searching for the truth, not to forgive him, but to justify leaving. Then, one cold night, she stumbled upon something that froze her blood. Joey had been secretly meeting with Bill. What bound these two men together? Why did Bill receive a message from the past just as Joey's lies deepened? The coincidence was too sharp, too calculated. Was Vanessa merely a pawn in a larger scheme between them, a woman used as leverage in a game she didn't even know she was playing? Bill, meanwhile, finished reading Doug's letter and discovered a chilling final line scrawled at the bottom: "If you're reading this, the traitor still lives." The words seared his mind. Who was the traitor? Who had caused the crash that killed Doug? He started looking around him, at Joey's nervous glances, Vanessa's sudden interest, Anita's calculated calm. Paranoia consumed him. He began following their movements, connecting clues that might never have existed, but each step pulled him deeper into the abyss. He started questioning his own memories. Could it be that he himself had played a role in Doug's death? Could his guilt have rewritten the past to protect him from the truth? Smitty, after announcing his decision to leave, sat in silence as Tyrell locked himself in his room and Samantha refused to speak. The family he had tried to protect now saw him as the betrayer. He stared at an old family photograph where Martin still smiled, an image now too painful to bear. Leaving Fairmont Crest had seemed the only way to keep them safe, but Smitty realized he was running from himself. He wondered whether Martin still believed in the future they once dreamed of, or if that vision had already burned away under the weight of their mistakes. As night fell over Fairmont Crest, every soul in that gilded cage found themselves imprisoned by their own secrets. Anita clung to her fading power like a mask, Vernon lay awake haunted by guilt, Vanessa stood by the lake with tears that tasted of betrayal, Joey watched from behind a door clutching his phone as if awaiting a fatal call, and Bill burned Doug's letter. Yet even as the flames devoured the paper, he knew some truths can never be destroyed. In another corner of town, Smitty packed his bags, unaware that his choice to leave would ignite the next great tragedy, one that would expose every lie and stain every love with blood and regret. And as the wind howled through the empty streets of Fairmont Crest, one question echoed in the night, haunting them all: who is the real deceiver? Who holds the strings of this cruel game? And can any of them ever escape the gates they built themselves? As the night slowly fades into the heavy silence of dawn, the world inside Fairmont Crest stands still, as if the entire community is holding its breath after a storm that no one can see but everyone can feel. The mansion lights flicker through the fog, faint but restless, mirroring the unease in every soul that calls this place home. Anita stands at the window again, watching the reflection of her own face in the glass. The woman she sees now no longer looks invincible. For years she believed power could hold her family together, that control could substitute love, but now, she sees only the emptiness her ambition has left behind. The empire she built to protect her name is now the very cage that traps her. Vernon's absence from their bed is no longer a mystery, it's a confirmation. Somewhere deep down, Anita knows she's already lost him. But what she doesn't yet realize is that Vernon's revenge is already set in motion. Across town, Vernon sits in his car near the harbor, watching the sunrise without joy. The glow of dawn feels like punishment, illuminating everything he's done to expose his wife. He thought that uncovering the truth would set him free, but instead it has bound him tighter to the darkness. In betraying Anita, he betrayed a piece of himself. There is no victory in destroying the person you once loved. Yet there's no turning back now, the documents have already been sent, and by noon, Anita will face a scandal so large it could erase everything she's ever built. Vernon whispers a silent apology into the empty air, but even his guilt cannot stop what's coming. Meanwhile, Vanessa returns home, her emotions a storm of anger and heartbreak. The night before, she uncovered more than just Joey's deceit, she found the proof that his connection to Bill wasn't accidental. She knows now that Joey and Bill share something darker, something linked to Doug's death. The realization burns through her like fire, leaving her trembling between rage and fear. She tells herself she'll confront them, but deep inside, she knows that once she speaks the truth aloud, there will be no undoing it. Some secrets are like ghosts, once you name them, they will never stop haunting you. Bill, unable to sleep, stares at the ashes of Doug's letter. He thought burning it would bring peace, but all it did was unleash more questions. The words "the traitor still lives" echo in his mind, a whisper he can't silence. The faces of everyone around him flash before his eyes, Joey, Anita, even Smitty, and he begins to wonder if Doug's warning was meant for him all along. Could he have been the betrayer without even knowing it? The guilt consumes him until he can no longer tell the difference between memory and madness. As he stands before the mirror, the reflection staring back no longer feels familiar. The gift that once seemed sentimental has become a curse that refuses to let him go. At the edge of the city, Smitty finishes packing. The children refuse to come downstairs, their silence a punishment sharper than any words. He hesitates by the door, wondering if leaving is truly an act of love or cowardice. The air feels heavy, the same way it did the night Martin walked out on him years ago. For a brief moment, he almost calls Martin, almost asks him to say something, anything, to make this easier. But he doesn't. He knows the chapter is closed, even if his heart still aches for what might have been. As he drives away, the camera lingers on his face. Haunted, uncertain, yet strangely calm, as if he knows this isn't the end but only the beginning of something darker. When the sun finally rises over Fairmont Crest, nothing is resolved, yet everything has changed. Anita's empire trembles. Vernon's conscience fractures. Vanessa stands on the edge of revelation. Bill drowns in guilt. And Smitty, the man who tried to escape the storm, is unknowingly driving straight into its eye. The gates of this gilded world remain closed, but inside them, the cracks are widening. One secret at a time, one betrayal after another, the walls that once protected them will fall. And as the day begins, a single question lingers like a shadow across every heart: when the truth finally breaks through those gates, who will survive the cost of what they've done?